Guess what happened 22 years ago today? Guess what happened 22 years ago today? I got expelled from high school. That's right. Woohoo! I got expelled! Yay! Yeah, I got expelled! That's right, my little bum-bums, I got expelled! Yeah! I got expelled! Got expelled from Brossard, a fascist high school. They really were. They were fascist. But that happened 22 years ago today. And that was the same year, that was the same year that I spent most of the school day in the library. Because, that's right. And it was, and I remember the library nun. There was a nun there who was the librarian. We called her the library nun. And she used to get mad because people used to stick bubble gum in library books. I remember one time somebody stuck bubble gum in an encyclopedia in the library. They did. So when you open it up, the pages would stick together. And she would always complain about people are making too much noise in the library. And I remember somebody farted in the library real loud once. They did. Somebody farted in the library, and the library nun got mad. She says, "Whoever is making those noises is going to have to stop." That was so funny. And also, and some I don't remember whether it was that year or one of the other years. I was probably in the library for something else. Like, they had in-school suspension in the library too. But it was one of those. I know there was one time some kids came into the library and started harassing me. So I knocked down like a whole shelf full of books on top of their heads. And it was funny too. They were sitting there like this. Well, and they had a bunch of books. There were there were books. And I knocked down a bunch of books on their heads and it went like this. Like that. A bunch of books came down on their heads. And it was so funny because I had a side. I think of what it looked like. I mean, I didn't have the side view because I was behind them, but think of what it looked like from the side. And then they had the nerve to complain about the world being so mean and unfair to them. But so that's the 22nd anniversary of being expelled from school. It happened April 20th, 1990. Let's see if there's any more news. And the principal, when I got expelled, the principal was always really he was always a big fascist about everything. And I remember the time he said, "I guess you'll be having problems forever." And that was like right before. I don't know when, if it was like right before I got expelled, but I know he said it. He says, "I guess you'll be having." He always talked like this. He always like put his stab the air with his hands like this. He always say, "Now, Tim, that's gotta stop. This has to stop, Tim." It's just like Mitt Romney. That's what he reminds me of. "Tim, it has to stop. I guess you'll be having problems forever, Tim." And I remember the time he said, "Then stop this shit." Like that. It was so funny. And he was a crazy man. He was. But okay, I guess there's nothing new in the news. And getting expelled used to have a lot of prestige to get expelled from school. because it used to be something that was, I mean, nowadays they just try to shame you for it, but it used to be very prestigious. I mean, a lot of famous people have been expelled from school, like Rick James and Roger Daltrey and Richard Pryor, and they all got expelled from school back in their day, and they were cool. They were, but so that's the latest stuff. And there's going to be more Occupy stuff tomorrow. There's going to be Occupy Earth Day down at Sawyer Point tomorrow. So, and what are some other weird things that happen at school? Brossart mostly. Like the time, and that was around the time, well, we had the art teacher who was always talking about stuff getting ruined. He was always, our big pastime was to trick him into saying the word ruin. And he always said ruin. He always said, now, this book over here got ruined. He says, and I remember one time somebody took his metal ruler and bent it. And he says, I guess it's because we can't have too many nice things for too long without people ruining them. And he always said that. I mean, it was like the drinking game. It's like every time he says ruin, drink. That's what it's like also. And remember this. The teacher that used to do that, it might be the guy in the Runaway video making faces. It's like that. There's a teacher at Brossart used to do this. He looked like a cow when he did that. But that was also the same year. The year I got expelled was the same year. Well, in art class, we always used to make a whole bunch of noise and we would yell out, Christ. Remember that in art class? And then we'd take a broom handle and hit the ceiling. I think I should talk about that in detail more some other time because that was so funny when we used to do that. But yeah, there was this. And there's a guy who always walks around Cincinnati who always does the same thing. There's a guy in Cincinnati that does that too. He's always walking across Fountain Square and he always does that. But he's cool. That guy is. He's cool. But 22 years of being expelled from Brossart. That's well over half my life now. Isn't that cool?